I traveled across the city carrying a bouquet for her birthday, but when I reached she was already blowing candles with another boy beside her, and my flowers wilted in my hands before I could even her. And I need to tell someone this story. Maybe writing it down will help me sleep at night, maybe it won't, but I can't carry this alone anymore. It started 3 months before Sarah's birthday. 3 months before I would drive across the city with flowers that would never reach her hands. Her name was Jessica. She worked in accounting on the 4th floor. I worked in marketing on the 6th. We'd pass each other in the elevator sometimes, exchange those polite smiles, give strangers, nothing more, until the Christmas party. Sarah couldn't come. She was sick with the flu, told me to go anyway, have fun with my coworkers. Don't be antisocial because of me, she said, kissing my forehead before I left our apartment. I should have stayed home. Jessica was there in a red dress that caught the light every time she moved. We ended at the same table when the dinner started, just talking at first, work stuff. Safe territory. Then she laughed at something I said, really laughed, not the polite chuckle Sarah gave my jokes anymore. This was different, this made me feel different, or funny, she said, touching my arm. I rather the party at home. I wasn't. Sarah and I had settled into routines, quiet dinners, Netflix, bed by 10. We'd been together 4 years, the spark wasn't dead but it was dimmer. Not really, I admitted. Things have been pretty quiet lately. That's how it started, one conversation about how quiet things had gotten. When the party moved to karaoke, Jessica grabbed my hand. Come on, sing with me. Sarah hated karaoke, said I was too shy anyway, but I wasn't shy with Jessica. We sang some cheesy duet and for 3 minutes on that little stage I felt alive again. Electric, like the person I used to be before bills and routine and the slow suffocation of settling down. After, we sat in a corner booth. The music was too loud for anyone to overhear us. Girlfriend doesn't know what she's missing, Jessica said. She was a little. We both were. She knows me pretty well actually, but does she see, really see? The question hit harder than it should have. When was the last time Sarah looked at me like I was someone worth discovering? When had we stopped trying to impress each other? Jessica leaned closer. I see, I should have left then. Called an Uber. Gone home to Sarah with her tissues and soup and familiar warmth. Instead I leaned closer too. We didn't that night. Just talked until the bar closed, about dreams we'd given, about feeling invisible, about wondering if this was all there was to. We should get coffee sometime, she said as we waited for our separate rides. A's friends. Right, the coffee happened 2 weeks later. Then lunch. Then drinks after work while Sarah thought I was stuck in late meetings. I told it wasn't cheating. We were just talking. Sarah was so busy with her new promotion anyway, working late, stressed all the time. This was harmless. Jessica made me feel interesting again, worth listening to. She'd text me during boring meetings with inside jokes that made me smile at my desk. She remembered details about stories I'd told her. She asked about my photography hobby that Sarah had stopped caring about years ago. Should show me work sometime, Jessica said during one of our coffee dates. That's when I knew I was in trouble. Because I wanted to. God, I wanted to show her everything. 3 months of lunches. 3 months of text messages I deleted before going home. 3 months of lying to Sarah about where I'd been and who I'd been with. 3 months of telling this wasn't real cheating because we hadn't crossed that line yet. Then came Sarah's birthday. I had it all planned. Dinner at the restaurant where we had our first date. Flowers from the shop across and that sold her favorite white roses. A weekend getaway to that bed and breakfast she'd bookmarked months ago. I wanted to make things right, to remember why I'd fallen for her in the first place. The morning of her birthday Jessica texted me. My roommate's out of town tonight. Want to come over? Just to talk. We both knew that was a lie. I stared at that message for 10 minutes. Sarah was at work. The flowers were ordered for pickup at 5, dinner reservations at 7. I could go to Jessica's for an hour. Just 1 hour, to say goodbye properly. To end this thing that shouldn't have started. That's what I told as I typed back. What's address? Jessica lived in a studio apartment with fairy lights and plants everywhere. It should have felt cramped, but it felt cozy, warm. Like a place where people still believed in magic. She'd made dinner. Nothing fancy, just pasta but she'd lit candles and put on music that reminded me of college, of being young and full of possibility. I know it's not much, she said suddenly shy. It's perfect, and it was, she was. In that moment everything felt perfect and possible and new. We ate and talked and laughed, and I forgot about everything else. The flowers waiting at the shop. Sarah probably checking her phone, wondering when I'd call to say happy birthday. When Jessica stood to clear the plates, she stumbled a little, or maybe it was intentional. I caught her arm to steady her, and suddenly we were inches apart. I've wanted to do this for months, she whispered. I knew I should leave. I knew this would destroy everything. But Jessica was looking at me like I was the only person in the world, and I was so tired of feeling invisible. So I her, and then I her again, and then I made the choice that would my. By the time I remembered the flowers, it was past 8. The shop was closed. Sarah's birthday was half over, and I was 40 minutes across town in another woman's bed, trying to figure out how to get home without her knowing where I'd been. I picked my phone to see 7 missed calls from Sarah. 7, the last voicemail was just her crying. I don't understand, she sobbed. It's my birthday. Where are? I've been waiting at the restaurant for 2 hours. People keep asking if I'm okay, and I don't know what to tell them. I got dressed in the dark while Jessica slept. Drove home with my hands shaking on the wheel, rehearsing lies that sounded weaker with each mile. Sarah was sitting on our couch when I walked in, still in the dress she'd bought for dinner, mascara streaked down her cheeks. Where were? She asked quietly. Work emergency. My phone died. I'm so sorry baby, I tried to call. Phone has been going straight to voicemail since 6. I called office. They said left early. The lies crumbled before I could speak them. Sarah just looked at me with those eyes that had loved me for 4 years and I watched something in them. Who is she? She whispered. I could have kept lying. Should have kept lying. But looking at Sarah in her birthday dress, alone and heartbroken because of me, the truth came pouring out like, her name is Jessica. Sarah nodded like she'd been expecting it, like some part of her had already known. How long? 3 months. But we never. Tonight was the first time we. Tonight, her voice broke. On my birthday. I reached for her but she flinched away like I was something dangerous. I got flowers, I said stupidly, white roses, from that shop like, they're still there, I was going to pick them, but then decided to spend my birthday with someone else instead. The words hung in the air like a sentence. Sarah stood slowly, carefully like someone trying not to break. I'm gonna stay at my sister's tonight, she said. Don't follow me. Don't call me. I need time to think. She packed a bag while I sat on the couch, watching my fall apart in real time. At the door she turned back one last time. I bought a present, she said. It's on the kitchen counter. Open it after I leave. After she was gone, I found the small wrapped birthday cake she'd bought for herself. Inside was a watch, expensive. Engraved on the back, to my forever love from Sarah. She'd bought it weeks ago, before Jessica. Before I'd away 4 years for one night of feeling special. I sat on our kitchen floor and cried until my throat was raw, holding that watch and thinking about the flowers that were still sitting in some shop across town. Flowers that would before morning just like everything else I'd destroyed. It's been 2 weeks since I posted the first part. Some had asked what happened next. I could say I learned my lesson and fought to win Sarah back. I could say I became a better person. I didn't. Sarah didn't come home for 3 days. 3 days of me calling in sick to work, sitting in our apartment surrounded by her things, rehearsing apologies that sounded more pathetic each time I said them out loud. On day 4 she came back with her sister Emma. They didn't speak to me, just packed boxes while I stood in the doorway of our bedroom like a ghost haunting my own. The lease is in both our names, I said finally, desperate, grasping. Emma turned around with fury in her eyes. Want to talk about what's fair? Sarah spent her birthday crying in a restaurant alone while we're with Mistress. Mistress, the word hit like a, made it sound calculated, planned, made me sound like the kind of man I swore I'd never become. It wasn't like that, I started. Then what was it like? Sarah spoke for the first time since she'd been back. Her voice was hollow, empty. Explain to me what it was like to choose her over me on the one day of the year that was supposed to be mine. I couldn't. There was no explanation that didn't make me sound like exactly what I was: selfish, weak, and cruel. Sarah found a studio apartment across town. Signed a lease that same week. When she came for the last of her things, she left the engagement ring I'd given her 18 months ago on the kitchen counter next to a note. I won't be needing this anymore. That's when it hit me. We weren't just breaking. We were supposed to get married. The wedding was planned for next fall, deposits paid, invitations are in our closet, still in its protective bag. I destroyed a wedding for one night with Jessica. Work became, Jessica tried to act normal at first, friendly smiles in the elevator, casual how are, conversations by the coffee machine, but I couldn't look at her without seeing Sarah crying in her birthday dress. Every laugh, every touch, every moment that had felt electric 3 weeks ago now felt different, Jessica said when she cornered me in the parking garage after work. Distant. My fiancé left me. I know, I'm sorry about that, but maybe this is a sign, maybe we're supposed to be together now. The words made my stomach turn. This isn't some romantic comedy, Jessica. I destroy my relationship for someone I love for. Her face hardened. For me, we're miserable in that relationship. Said so. I didn't force to do anything. That was the worst part. I couldn't even blame her completely. Every choice had been mine. I need space, I told her. I need time to figure things out. Jessica laughed, but it wasn't the warm laugh I'd fallen for. This one was bitter, cold, space. Had 4 years of space with her, but one night with me and suddenly need to soul search. She transferred departments 2 days later. I told it was for the best. Then Sarah's friends started finding out. I don't know how the story spread, but it did, like wildfire. Suddenly people who'd known us as a couple were picking sides and nobody picked mine. At the grocery store I ran into Mike, Sarah's best friend's husband. We'd watched football together, grilled burgers in my backyard. He'd been planning to be in my wedding party. When he saw me in the cereal aisle, his face twisted with disgust. We're a piece of work, know that, he said loud enough for other shoppers to hear. 4 years with Sarah and throw it away for some office fling. An elderly woman with a shopping cart stopped to stare. A teenager pulled out his phone like he was recording. Mike, can we not do this here? Where should we do it? At the restaurant where Sarah spent her birthday alone. While we're busy screwing around. The words echoed through the store. People stopped shopping to listen, to judge, to watch me become the villain in a story that would be retold at dinner parties for years. I abandoned my cart and left without buying anything. Social media was worse. Sarah hadn't posted anything about the breakup, but her friends had no such restraint. Emma posted a photo of Sarah crying with the caption, "When someone shows who they really are, believe them the first time. My sister deserves so much better than a cheating coward." 43 likes, 12 comments of support, 3 people asking what happened. Emma answered in the replies, her boyfriend of 4 years cheated on her birthday. Oner Birech Dawai. With some random from work, while she was waiting for him at dinner. Sarah's friend Melissa shared it with her own commentary. This is why I have trust issues. Men really will throw away years of love for one night of excitement. Absolutely. My name wasn't mentioned, but it did. Mutual friends knew, my coworkers knew, my family knew, my mom called me crying. How could do this to Sarah, she sobbed. She's like a daughter to me. We've been planning wedding, talking about grandchildren, and just, how could throw that away? Even my own mother was disappointed in me. The woman who defended everything I'd done growing couldn't find excuses for this. My dad was worse. He didn't call, he didn't text. When I tried reaching out, he sent one message back. I raised better than this. That was it. No lecture, no anger. Just deep disappointment. I started drinking. Not constantly, just enough to sleep. Just enough to stop replaying that night over and over. Just enough to forget the look in Sarah's eyes when she asked where I'd been. One night and desperate, I drove to Sarah's new apartment. Sat in my car outside her building like some kind of, trying to work the courage to go upstairs and beg for forgiveness. Sarah came home with groceries around 9. She looked smaller somehow. Thinner, tired. When she saw my car she stopped walking. For a moment, we just looked at each other through my windshield. 4 years of love and memories and shared dreams in the space between us. Then she took out her phone and called someone. Emma, he's here again. Outside my apartment. Can come over again. Like I'd done this before. Like I was some dangerous ex she needed protection from. I drove away before Emma arrived, but the damage was done. Sarah was scared of me now. The man who used to make her laugh, who used to be her safe place, had become someone she needed protection from. A week later, I got served with a restraining order. The paper said in official legal language, no contact, direct or indirect. No coming within 500 feet of her residence or workplace. I was officially the bad guy now. Legally documented as to the woman I'd loved for 4 years. Work became unbearable. Jessica had apparently told her version of events to anyone who would listen. In her story, I was the predator who pursued her relentlessly, then discarded her when I got bored. He was so persistent. I heard her telling someone in the break room. Always asking me to coffee. Always texting. I should have known he was just using me to cheat on his girlfriend. I wanted to defend, to tell the truth, but what was the truth? That I'd been emotionally cheating for months. That I'd chosen to betray Sarah on her birthday. That every decision along the way had been mine. Jessica's version made me sound worse, but it wasn't entirely wrong. My boss called me into his office on a Friday afternoon. There's been some complaints, he said, not meeting my eyes. About workplace conduct, creating an uncanny thing inappropriate at work. Maybe not recently. But this situation with Jessica, it's affecting team morale. People are uncomfortable. He offered me a transfer to our Phoenix office. Fresh start, he called it. Nobody, no choice, to transfer to Arizona and start over. Or stay and face the whispers and judgment every day. I took the transfer. Moving day was the loneliest experience of my. No friends to help load boxes. No family offering to drive the truck. Just me and some hired movers who didn't care about my story. I packed 4 years of memories into cardboard boxes. Photos of Sarah and me at Christmas, on vacation, at friends' weddings. Her coffee mug still in the sink. Her favorite book still on the nightstand. I almost it all away, started to, actually. Stood over the dumpster with a box full of our together, ready to drop it in. But I couldn't, even after everything, even knowing she never wanted to see me again, I couldn't erase her completely. So I packed it all. Every photo, every memento, every reminder of what I'd lost, loaded it into a truck and drove west to a city where nobody knew my name. Phoenix was supposed to be my fresh start. New job, new apartment, new. Nobody here knew about Sarah or Jessica or the birthday that destroyed everything. But I knew. Every morning when I woke alone, every evening when I came home to silence, every night when I tried to sleep and saw Sarah's face, heard her voice asking, where were? The loneliness was suffocating. I tried dating apps, but every conversation felt hollow. How to explain that a recently single without explaining why? How to build trust with someone new when proven can't be trusted? I matched with a woman named Claire. Pretty smart, funny in her messages. We planned to meet for coffee. The night before our date, I got and looked Sarah's social media. She'd blocked me on everything, but I could still see her through mutual friends' posts. There she was at Emma's birthday party, smiling again. Really smiling, not the one she'd been wearing for months before I cheated. She looked happy, healing, and she looked beautiful. More beautiful than I remembered, like leaving me had lifted some weight off her shoulders. In the background of one photo I saw him. Just a shadow at first, but then Emma posted another picture and there he was clearly. Tall, kind face, arm around Sarah's shoulders like he belonged there. The caption read, Sarah's new friend David, so glad she's happy again, new friend, right? I spent the night on my bathroom floor, and sobbing, thinking about how quickly she'd moved on. How easily she'd replaced me. I canceled the date with Claire. How could I meet someone new when I couldn't even handle Sarah being happy without me? That's when I realized the truth I'd been avoiding for months. I hadn't just lost Sarah. I'd lost the ability to love someone without destroying them. I'd proven to that when things got comfortable, when the spark dimmed, I'd look for excitement elsewhere. I was the problem. Not the relationship, not the routine, not the lack of adventure. Me, and now I was alone in a city full of strangers, working a job I hated, living in an apartment that felt like a prison, carrying the weight of knowing I'd thrown away the best thing in my for one night of feeling special. It's been 2 years since I posted the first part of this story. 2 years since I destroyed my for one night of feeling wanted. People keep messaging me asking how things turned out, if I learned anything, if there's hope. There isn't. Phoenix didn't fix me. New city, same broken person. I into work, stayed late every night, took every overtime shift available. Anything to avoid going home to an empty apartment that smelled like regret. My new coworkers tried to include me at first. Friday drinks, weekend barbecues, birthday parties. I made excuses. How to explain that can't be around happy couples without seeing Sarah's face? How to tell people don't trust around other people's wives? Eventually they stopped asking. I tried therapy. Sat in a beige office with a woman named Dr. Martinez who asked gentle questions about my relationship patterns and emotional needs. She used words like self-sabotage and commitment anxiety. What are afraid of? She asked during our 6th session. Hurting someone again. Or being. That hit harder than it should have. Because she was right. Somewhere deep down, I'd cheated before Sarah could leave me. Before the routine killed whatever we had. Before she realized I wasn't worth staying for. I destroyed the only good thing in my because I was scared of losing it. Slowly I admitted. Dr. Martinez nodded like this was some breakthrough. But knowing why broken doesn't make less broken. It just makes aware of exactly how the next good thing that comes along. I stopped going after that. The holidays were the worst. Christmas, Valentine's Day, Sarah's birthday. Days that used to mean something now just marked time since I'd lost everything that mattered. On what would have been our wedding day I got and called her. The number was disconnected. She'd changed it, of course, probably months ago. But I'd been too much of a coward to try calling until the day we were supposed to promise each other forever. I drove to the florist that night. The same chain where I'd ordered her birthday flowers 2 years ago. They were closed, but I sat in the parking lot anyway, thinking about white roses that never got picked. That's when I saw them. A young couple walking out of the restaurant next door. He was carrying a small box, the kind that holds engagement rings. She was crying happy tears, calling her mom to share the news. They looked so young, so hopeful, so convinced their love was different, special, unbreakable. I wanted to warn them, to tell them that promises are easy to make and easier to break. That the person trusts completely can become a stranger in one night. That forever is just a word people say before they find someone who makes them feel alive again. But I didn't. I just watched them drive away to start planning a future I'd thrown away. Work became my entire world. 60-hour weeks, weekend projects, anything to stay busy. I got promoted twice in 2 years. Corner office, company car, salary that Sarah would have been proud of. None of it mattered. My mom called sometimes, but our conversations were stilted, awkward. She'd ask how I was doing, I'd lie and say fine. She'd mention running into Sarah's mom at the grocery store. Sarah's engaged, she told me during one call. My heart stopped for a moment. That's good. She deserves to be happy. Her mother says he's a wonderful man, a doctor. Very kind to her. Of course he was. Of course Sarah had found someone worthy of her. Someone who wouldn't destroy everything good in his for a moment of excitement. I'm glad, I managed. Seeing anyone. The question I'd been dreading. Because the answer was complicated. I tried. Met women at work events, through dating apps, at the gym. Some were beautiful, intelligent, funny. Some reminded me of Sarah in ways that made my chest ache. But every time things started getting serious, I sabotaged it. Found excuses to end things before they could end me. Before I could them the way I'd Sarah. Claire from accounting asked me out 3 times before giving. Maria from the coffee shop near my apartment left her number on my receipt every morning for a month. I them all away. Not because I didn't want company. Because I knew exactly what kind of man I was now. The kind who makes promises he can't keep. The kind who destroys trust for temporary thrills. The kind who breaks hearts and calls it love. I'm focusing on my career right now, I told my mom. She didn't believe me. Neither did I last month. I got a wedding invitation in the mail. Not Sarah's, thank God. Mike and Lisa, friends from college who'd somehow missed the memo about what kind of person I'd become. I almost didn't go. Weddings or whim destroyed own chances at happiness. But something made me buy a plane ticket back home. The ceremony was beautiful. Lisa looked radiant in her dress. Mike cried during his vows. Their families beamed from the pews. Everything a wedding should be. During the reception I hid in a corner booth, nursing and watching couples dance. Young love, old love, new love, lasting love. All the kinds I'd never have again. That's when I saw her. Sarah, she was at a table near the front with the wedding party. Apparently Lisa's maid of honor. She looked stunning in a blue dress that made her eyes shine like stars. And beside her, holding her hand like she was precious, was him, David the doctor. Tall, kind face, exactly the type of man Sarah deserved. The type of man I should have been. I watched them dance during the slow songs. Watched him whisper something in her ear that made her laugh. Really laugh, the way she used to laugh with me before I got comfortable and stopped trying to earn it. She looked happy. Genuinely, completely happy. And I realized something that deeper than all the loneliness and regret, I wasn't even a memory to her anymore. She'd healed. Moved on. Built anew with someone who would never betray her trust on her birthday. I left before the bouquet toss. Couldn't watch Sarah catch flowers meant for the next bride. Couldn't see her, the man who would give her the wedding I'd stolen from her. On the plane back to Phoenix, I scrolled through my phone looking at photos from the reception that mutual friends had posted. Sarah and David at the cake table. Sarah and David on the dance floor. Sarah and David looking at each other like they'd found their missing piece. In one photo could see me in the background. Alone at my table, staring at them with longing on my face. Someone had tagged me, even saw our old friend, good to see him doing well, and I wasn't doing well. Anyone looking at that photo could see it, the isolation, the regret, the hollow expression of a man who'd gambled everything on a moment of excitement and lost. I deleted the tag. Deleted my social media accounts. What was the point of staying connected to people who'd moved on without me? That night I lay in my empty apartment thinking about the flowers that started this whole story. White roses from a shop across town, wilted and forgotten while I chose temporary pleasure over lasting love. Those flowers had become a metaphor for everything I'd touched since. Relationships that died before they bloomed. Friendships that withered from neglect. Family connections that grew cold from disappointment. I'd become the type of man who destroys gardens and wonders why nothing grows around him. This morning, I saw a couple arguing outside my apartment building. She was crying, he was defensive, they were throwing around words like trust and respect. And I wanted to tell him what someone had told me, that the grass isn't greener on the other side. It's just different grass. That the excitement of someone new will fade, but the love about to throw away might not. That some mistakes don't get second chances. But I didn't say anything, just watched another relationship and walked to my car, carrying the weight of knowing I'd become a cautionary tale. So here's what I learned for anyone still reading this train wreck: when cheat, don't just lose the person betrayed. Lose the ability to trust, own judgment, own promises, own capacity for love. Lose friends who can't look at the same way. Lose family who raised to be better. Lose respect from coworkers, neighbors, strangers who hear story. But worst of all, lose the version of that was capable of being loved completely. Because once a proven will betray someone's trust for a moment of excitement, will never fully trust again. Sarah married David last weekend. I saw the photos on her sister's Facebook before I blocked everyone from my old. She looked radiant, complete, like someone who'd survived a terrible accident and learned to walk again. The flowers in her bouquet were white roses. I hope they never wilt in her hands the way mine did, because the hands holding them now know what it means to cherish something precious, instead of destroying it for a temporary thrill.